Hey, what up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back finally with another Raising Kanan Season 4 theory and prediction video. Now, of course, I had to wait a little while, just a little bitty while, for them to give us a little bit more content to work with. But let's talk about Famous, y'all. Now, me personally, I feel some type of way because Famous has not been included in any of the little bit of teaser stuff that they've given us, courtesy of Stars in the Raising Kanan series. Even though they haven't given us the official trailer yet, we know it's coming in February. But Famous has not been in none of the material. He hasn't been in none of the preview pictures. Even Getting It How I Live said that he's been on the actor who plays Famous, his Instagram, and he hasn't posted anything about Raising Kanan. And this alarms me, man. But this also adds even more credence to a theory that I have spoken on, which I will always say originated with Getting It How I Live, except the fact that I expounded on it in a way that no other person was able to expound on. And that's the fact that it's very likely that we get a time skip at the beginning of season 4, and we will also find out that Famous is in prison serving at very minimum 25 to life. Famous is serving a 25 to life sentence, y'all. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it, okay? So the fact that he's not there means a lot. The fact that the actor who plays him has not posted anything about Raising Kanan or the character that is Famous, that also explains a lot. Now, that could mean that Famous was written off the show. That could mean that something major is going to happen with Famous and he's just not going to say nothing about it, right? Until he's mentioned again or he's shown again, whether it's briefly or for whatever reason. Let's also remember that we all assume that Effie killed Lauren. And then the the woman who played Lauren on Power Book 2 Ghost, she didn't post anything about the show at all, right until it was revealed that Lauren is actually alive. So we have to ask ourselves this question. Did they do a Lauren thing with Famous, whereas Famous is not going to be around and then he's going to be around? Or at least we're going to find out some critical things about him, because I personally, until it is revealed otherwise, right? Until it is said otherwise, that Famous is not in prison, I'm going to fully keep on jacking the fact that he is in prison. I also want to go out on a limb until proven otherwise, because all of my theories are a billion, cajillion, fulfillion, million% correct until proven wrong. I also want to go out on a limb and predict that Famous will have been in prison for some months by the time season 4 rolls back around. Now, we also got to discuss what are the reasons why Famous will go to prison. Now, there's some speculation that he could be discharged, but here's the thing, right? The murder weapon that killed Freddie was found in his home. His mother took the gun to the police. They ran the ballistics on the gun, right? Famous's fingerprints are all over that gun. There are scenes where Famous was handling that gun and he did not have gloves. In fact, the only time he ever had gloves on with that gun was when he actually attempted to rob Freddie and ended up killing Freddie. This is what we're dealing with now, man. And being that we already had the theory that OG Power Kanan was in a cell having a friendly, brotherly fight and dispute with someone who we assume to be Famous in episode 6 of OG Power, we got to understand it like this, right? This would be 92, 93, right? If Famous was under 18, then of course they would do what they do in New York court, which is if you're 16 or 17 and you commit a heinous crime, they will have you in court. And you won't even begin to really go to trial or be offered anything until you turn 18 and they can charge you as an adult. right? Which would also be included in the time skip part. And by the time it starts, we have Famous, who will be within the first year of a long 20, 25-year bid. Yes, of course, granting the opportunity for him to come back within the current future timeline, which I don't know, man. I don't know if the producers of Power even care enough about Famous's character to then have a grown adult version of Famous come in and influence the show in any kind of way, especially for the simple fact that Famous was likely a character that was thought about after OG Power. And being that he was never mentioned, even though he wouldn't have had to be mentioned, being that he was never mentioned by at least Kanan and OG Power, it's likely that they don't care. But like I said, the writing is on the wall. Until it's said otherwise, we can expect Famous to officially be called as in prison by the time season 4 of Raising Kanan begins. Now, if Famous is not in jail, now of course we can speculate on the many other things that could contribute to Famous not being a part of the show, right? One, away from storylines, the producers just got tired of dealing with the actor who plays Famous, right? That's one. That's probably the most unlikely factor, right? Two, Famous gets arrested, Famous gets killed while in prison, okay? Or while on Rikers Island, right? While on lockup, Famous gets killed. Now, the people who kill Famous, of course, this would be connected to Freddie in some kind of way. We could do that. Now, another option is, like I seen Getting How I Live say in the video that I watched of him yesterday, is that Famous finds a way to go home, and then he goes to LA with his sister. I don't see that happening. I'm not even sure if we even see Famous' sister again unless they show us a funeral and then Famous' sister attends that funeral in New York City, right? I want to rule out the possibility also that Famous gets out of jail for snitching. For the simple fact and the only fact that matters when it comes to proof of whether Famous eventually becomes a rat or not is for the simple fact that Kanan named his son after Famous. Sean Figueroa was inspiration, right? For Sean being the name of Kanan's son. Now, if Famous was any kind of rat, right? And Kanan knew for sure, Kanan would never, ever name his son after a rat. So that's enough proof. But then also, you got to understand, every situation that Famous been in, as far as with him being in handcuffs, he's asking for his lawyer. He's in lockup right before Howard got him out, right? He's nervous, but when he felt like he was about to get into it, and he's about to get into a fight and all that, what'd he say? He said, you don't want this. He was tough the whole time. Proving that this is the potential of somebody who could cop out, get a 25 to life sentence, right? Or get a 25-year sentence and actually be someone who could hold it down and prove to be that person who Kanan was in prison with episode 6 of the first season of Power. But those are my thoughts on the situation. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's gotta get that. That's touch my ink. That's on the dome, nigga.